Welcome to the Smart Living Spaces vlog. I am Sharon, architectural and passive house designer. I'm also a Homestar professional located here in New Zealand. It's my mission to make healthy, comfortable, energy efficient and affordable homes for everyday people. So come on a journey with me where I share my knowledge gained over the last couple of decades, because we aren't going to be building better if people don't understand and see the value in changing what we are creating. Hi, I'm Sharon, an architectural and passive house designer. I'm also a Homestar designer and assessor, and this is Small Smart Spaces. Small Smart Spaces is a range of pre-designed concepts embodying efficiencies and qualities from offsite construction while still having adaptability for project and on-site requirements, and also ensuring that the design and build creates a healthy, comfortable home. Now, I design Small Smart Spaces to create a pathway for everyday people to live in better homes that support their physical and financial well-being. Creating smart living spaces is my passion and my purpose. So Small Smart Spaces are designed to easily accommodate various levels of project specification, starting at Homestar level 6 and able to be passive house certified. And the reason for this is that these designs focus on healthy, comfortable homes with low power bills and lock-in finance options better than for conventional and traditional builds. Now, a code-compliant home has long been marketed as quality by various companies in the country, but what code-compliant really is legal. The building code sets out the minimum legal requirements that all buildings in New Zealand have to at least reach, and the building code is the legislative criteria that comes from the Building Act. It's not design-based and it's not performance-proven. It's minimums that make lots of assumptions to create a legal bottom line. The problem with this is that that legal document has been used as a minimum design guide, creating just legal homes that are sold to everyday people under the illusion that they are healthy, comfortable homes. And I just don't believe New Zealanders deserve that. So watch or listen below to see how Small Smart Spaces can create a healthy new home for you that is also a great financial decision by embracing systems, products, and processes that far exceed the legal bottom line and are performance proven. But before we begin, if you like this content and want to be notified of when each new vlog is published, click the subscribe button on YouTube. This helps grow the channel and gets the word out on building better to a much wider audience. Your support in my mission of creating healthy, comfortable homes that are energy efficient for everyday people is very much appreciated. And if you want to get my vlog delivered directly to your inbox every month, sign up using the link below if you haven't already done so. For a more personal experience, book a chat. We can talk one-on-one about your specific requirements. The link to book that is in the description below. And also I will put in the links to the various social media channels that I have. I release snippets in a reel every single day, just giving little golden nuggets. So without further ado, let's dive into Small Smart Spaces. I am going to explain how Small Smart Spaces has been designed to address the following challenges that clients face when wanting to build a new home. One would be the time for the architectural process. 2 is the cost of design fees and the real fear of a runaway bespoke design. 3 is the water and power bills, the costs you are left with, living with, and how to design them down. Interest rates, how building better can help you with your mortgage. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Quality, how Small Smart Spaces collaborates, ensuring consistency and reliability. And then speedy construction on site, how off-site and on-site construction processes work together to maximize speed and site suitability, and the conventional building practices just cannot achieve. And then lastly, I will close off. I have timestamped the sections below, so if you want to skip to certain sections or go back to sections, you can. So the first way that Small Smart Spaces addresses building better and a more client-friendly experience is time for the architectural design. One of the first questions I get asked by clients is about how long their project is going to take to design and document. And the challenge with bespoke projects is that because the design, the structural approach, and the material selection are always different or a different combination, time needs to be spent to get a design that works with the client's needs and budget, and then that unique combination needs to be detailed. So this creates quite a bit of work, which obviously takes more time and adds more cost. And every project is different, with every client wanting a certain look or a certain material palette and certain structural systems. So on top of that, not all materials are created equal. So some additional consideration needs to be put into how to best design them or compensate for them, particularly when you're talking about designing for health and comfort. Now, to navigate this issue, Small Smart Spaces offers a set of standard design approaches. And I don't really like the word standard or standardization, as each building site, budget and project really does need some consideration for the reality, but it's hard to find another word really that explains it. The designs use a set specification of products and systems that I know go really well together, and they do create a healthy design. These designs can be adapted to suit your unique requirements within that set specification. So that significantly reduces the amount of design work, and therefore ensures that your design can be documented and consented a lot faster, and obviously cheaper. Of course, if you're happy with a small smart space concept design right from the start, there is a very clear fast track path for you, as most of the documentation work has already been completed and it's ready for the consent stage. There's part of this design process that is systemized, and then there's part of the design process that has allowance for site-specific requirements like climate, wind, earthquake zones, rainfall intensities, and a whole bit of other technical stuff you don't want to really know about, but it has to be considered. So this allows for the project to be specific to your site and not include work that creates unnecessary expense for your home, because a home that's designed and built in Queenstown will be very different from the requirements of a home that is designed and built in Auckland. This is not about creating one size that fits all. This is about offering the same style shoe to everybody, but in different sizes. And the best part of this is that you can see what you're getting in a process. You are in control of the timeframes. So the process has various points where you advance to the next step, either through an online purchase or by booking the next consultation. And that is all controlled by you. So the best place to start is with a concept consultation. This is before you purchase a design, so that you can see how it will fit on your site and work with planning rules. You don't want to buy a design that's not going to fit on your site. We also don't want costly resource consents to spring up unexpectedly and give you stress and unexpected cost. And if possible, we want to avoid resource consent early on. I advise you which designs are a good fit for your site and which ones will also require resource consent, which is planning permission from the local council. It's not building consent. They're two different things. And the next best step after you have purchased your design and had time to get familiar with it is to do a customization consultation. So this is the stage where we discuss any changes you wish to make and how best to achieve it with your budget, site, and the Small Smart Spaces system. If you don't want to make any changes, that's great. We can just simply move on to the next stage. But this step is important if you like a design, but you have specific requirements that you wish to include. So once you've purchased a construction set, we can have a consent consultation. So this is the stage where you'll have an indication of the build cost. We'll know where in the country you're wanting to construct this, and we need to finalize things to get building consent. This is the stage where additional consultants are engaged with things like soil tests and final site-specific details like foundations are added to your drawings. It's also the stage where we can finalise whether you want to get Homestar certification and to what level, and if you wanted to go for Passive House certification. So after this stage, one of the Small Smart Spaces affiliated builders can give you a contract price, which you will need to go to the bank for loans. And you can sign the build contract with a locked-in price direct with the builder. There's no middlemen or salespeople in the process of Small Smart Spaces. You are dealing directly with the architectural designer, the affiliated mortgage broker, and the affiliated builder for a design and build project. We are all business owners, so our level of service and accountability is high because this is our reputation that is on the line. Then the exciting part comes of seeing your home come together. The system used by Small Smart Spaces is being designed for quick assembly on site, as much as off-site componentry as possible. This means that we can fast-track stages of your project. So while your foundation and site works are being done, your walls and roof can be in the factory over here being made. So it's all about being smart with processes and still having a quality-based approach. So the second thing I'm going to talk to you about is the cost of design, the design process, designing out the fear of a runaway fee. I regularly get asked how much for architectural plans, For a bespoke project, this is an incredibly difficult question to answer quickly, as it depends on what you're doing and how much is involved in the design and what the site is like. Remember, every bespoke architectural project is a unique combination of client aspirations, material choices, structural systems, and budget, and they all need to work together for a project to actually be possible in real life. We want this thing to stand up. So that is why the pre-designed range at Small Smart Spaces has set prices for the design sets. The trade-off of that, of course, is that you get a standardized version of the design or a set design, but for a small additional cost, that design can be adapted to suit your requirements so that you are not locked in, but working smartly within the system. Perhaps you need another bedroom, or you want to combine two of the designs together to form a duplex kind of situation. There are multiple possibilities. If you're wanting something different but love the concept of Small Smart Spaces, just book a chat with me. You are dealing directly with the architectural designer, so there's no sales team that need to hand over information and advice secondhand and things get lost in translation. You don't have to be limited in your possibilities. You can explore what is possible for you without missing out on the efficiencies that we have managed to design into Small Smart Spaces. Now, once you've purchased a design, we have a consultation to assess the adaptations you might want to make and how it will best work with your site. It's important for all designs to work with the physical and planning restraints of your site, so that is why a design consultation is available before you purchase the design. That's the first consultation step. That way you don't spend money on a design that doesn't work for you. That's not the aim of this game. And that consultation can easily be booked on the website at a time that suits you. The cost of the process and for all of these steps is laid out on the website, with some specific project costs that will be provided when there is sufficient information to give you accuracy, because it all depends on, at that stage, what needs to happen for your specific project. But the cost of the designs haven't been hidden in any sums of the building contract. Transparency is super important in this process because we want it to run smoothly and be stress-free. We want you to trust us. The affiliate builders that are involved right from the start, they're familiar with pricing these designs. They're able to give you really good cost advice when meeting with you. So you have two of our heads with you, which is so much better than one coming from different perspectives to try and get your project in the place where you need it to be. So the third thing might not be very obvious, but low power bills and low water bills. These are the costs that you are left with once you finish building. And that it's often the part of designing a home that often gets ignored. We're all focusing on the aesthetics and how wonderful we want it to look. Small Smart Spaces are energy modeled, so it's a requirement for Homestar and Passive House. So I know the power demand of the pre-designed concepts. Homestar also calls for maximum flow rates on taps and plumbing fixtures, so we know we're being smart with your water use. We're not leaving it up to you to figure that out. This is my approach to low power bills for Small Smart Spaces. If you can keep the design with a low power demand and use meters to smartly distribute that power around the home, then we can reduce the cost of installing PV panels should you wish to generate your own electricity, as the demand for power is much lower, and so for the capital cost of buying those PV panels comes down. Or if you don't want to put in PV panels, we can reduce your power bill straight away. So by designing smarter, we are reducing your power bills before you even move in fact, before you even start building. And this also reduces the demand and therefore cost of any additional sustainable systems or band-aids that you might have to add in later. So energy modeling on Small Smart Spaces shows that stepping a design from a minimum building code level, which we don't do, to a Homestar 6 level reduces that power demand by 50%. It halves your power bills. And this is with healthy, comfortable levels, which our building code doesn't call for, doesn't commonly create and can't ensure. So it won't surprise you to learn then that Small Smart Spaces doesn't have a minimum building code level of design. The lowest specification of Small Smart Spaces is to Homestar 6, whether you get it rated by the New Zealand Green Building Council or not. It is not my place to design unhealthy buildings here. So just briefly, I will run you through the power bills for this design to the various Homestar levels so you can see what I'm talking about. So starting at a building code level, just to create some relativity for you, I want you to see the value in comparative to what you know and not just trust what I'm telling you. Now, this design has an annual power consumption of 10,428 kilowatt hours per year, which means it equates to about $260.70 on average with a monthly power bill. That's making some assumptions. Brands estimates that on average our code compliant new homes uses about 120 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. That's a very broad-based figure. The design that this code minimum design uses is 173.8. So that just goes to show you we're guessing with often quite an optimistic view on how good a home our building code really creates. Now, if we take this design to Homestar 6 level, which is the entry level of small smart spaces, this monthly power bill drops from $260 to $103.50. And when we increase this Homestar level of performance to 8, this drops to $76.50. And then when we get to Homestar 10 and passive house levels, you can expect to pay $52.50 on average every month whilst living in this design, together with guaranteed health and comfort of an interior environment that sits between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius year-round. Our building code cannot ensure that that happens. So you can see that the step from code minimum to Homestar 6 really is worth considering for the benefits it gives you, not only just in terms of comfort, but also affordable power and water bills. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Homestar 6 is estimated on average to cost between 0 and 2% more in construction costs. And I will do an exercise a little bit later on that will show you how this can actually work in your favor, believe it or not. And I will show you how. Okay, so good interest rates, how building better can help with your mortgage repayments. This part will show you why I do Homestar. So banks and lenders are starting to realize that better buildings actually are more valuable and also more desirable to the public to purchase. So it's more desirable to provide lending on. Remember, when you take out a home loan, you use your home as security for the loan. So if your security is more valuable, the lending can be more favorable, not just bigger. ANZ has recognized this with their Healthy Home Loan offer for any Homestar project. It's not just covering healthy home features. Starting with Homestar 6, this loan gives a 0.7 interest rate reduction on any fixed home loan and 1% interest rate reduction on any floating home loan interest rate. So with Homestar 6 costing just a little bit more than a minimum code compliant home and also offering these huge power savings every month, there really is a firm case to be made that building better can be better for your wallet. But don't just believe me, let's crunch the numbers to show you how small smart spaces actually stacks up to a conventional code compliant minimum build option. So this little 60 square meter design has assumed a base square meter rate for a code compliant home of $4,000 a square meter. Now, I just want to caution people, square meter rates can be misleading, as the smaller a home, the larger the square meter rate, as bathrooms and kitchens are more expensive rooms. Also, the square meter rate will vary from area to area, as different locations do require different adaptations and level of specification to suit the site's topography and location. But for simplicity, I'm just assuming this figure to start somewhere. This would be reasonable for a flat, uncomplicated site in Auckland, our dream sites with a very simple, straightforward, fully serviced build. We're assuming no resource consent is needed and consultant and design fees are excluded. We want to keep this quite a simple exercise. And for fun, let's assume that the base entry level of this design, which is a Homestar 6, is 2% more than the common minimum standard option. Let's increase it to 5% for Homestar 8 and 10% for Homestar 10. Homestar 10 does sit on about the passive house level with regards to energy efficiency. Plus, Homestar requires some fees, so let's be reasonable and add $5,000 to the project costs to cover that. We'll assume a mortgage term of 30 years with a constant interest rate of 6% with no deposit and monthly repayments. I really just want to keep this as a simple exercise. We are assuming the design fees are the same for all of the projects. Now, minimum legal standard, remember this is not available for small smart spaces. So we say that's $4,000 a square meter, including GST, times by 60 square meters, that gives us $240,000 in a mortgage, monthly repayments of $1,439. Now, if we go to Homestar 6, which is our entry level for small smart spaces, it's a good standard of design and build. We take that $240,000, we add 2%, we add $5,000 for the Homestar fees, we get a mortgage of $249,800. For Homestar 8, the best practice design and build, we take that $240,000 base, add 5% plus $5,000 for the Homestar fees, we get $257,000. And for Homestar 10, which is a world-class design and build, we're taking that base build of 240,000 times 10% plus 5K in Homestar fees, which gives us a base build of 260,000 for the 60 square meter dwelling. So now how does this all stack up comparing monthly repayments and remembering that not all Homestar interest rates are now reduced by 0.7% off that minimum legal standard option. Now at 6% interest, the monthly repayments are $1,439. The total interest that you pay over the lifespan of that loan is $278,012. Homestar 6, we've got 6% minus 0.7%, so we've got an interest rate of 5.3%, monthly repayments of $1,388, and a total interest of $249,574 over the lifespan of the loan if you take it over 30 years. So this is actually less than the minimum co-compliant version, both in terms of monthly repayments and less interest paid over the loan's lifespan, but with a slightly higher build cost and a much better quality. Don't forget half a power bill. So if we go to Homestar 8, we take that 5.3 interest rate, monthly repayments are $1,428. The total interest over the lifespan of the loan is $256,768. And we are still less than monthly repayments and the total interest paid over the minimum legal version, right? For Homestar 8, that's a good practice. And Homestar 10 or passive house levels, we've got that 5.3% interest rate, $1,441 monthly repayments, total interest of $257,765, what a mouthful, over the lifespan of the loan. So slightly higher monthly repayments. And this compared to the worst performing building able to legally to be built, but with less interest paid over the loan's lifespan. So that's how the worst performing building, which is common practice, to one of the best performing buildings, a version of this design will actually stack up, because you can't compare different designs to each other if you haven't got some commonality. So that's why I'm taking the same design and applying the different scenarios. Now, if we add your power savings from your power bill to pay off your minimum repayments, you can pay off that mortgage much faster. And so the argument that building better with a higher capital cost is more expensive doesn't actually fully explore the reality of the full picture as we assess the cost of living and green finance options. So it's really a false economy just to sell you status quo. So Small Smart Spaces has been designed to capitalize on these opportunities so that they happen seamlessly and intentionally, benefiting you, the homeowner. I just want to point out again that I am a Homestar assessor, and as such, I submit my projects for Homestar. So you don't need an external consultant who doesn't understand Small Smart Spaces on your project. And this means that we can reduce your Homestar fees and speed up that assessment process. It's part of the efficiency that I've built into the whole process of my knowledge of offsite construction, passive house, and Homestar to sort of combine them together to package it up to benefit you. So, number 5, quality, collaboration, and consistency. I often think of the project team as being like an All Blacks rugby team, right? We need to be aligned and we have to have the same goal to create a winning project for our client. You are our common denominator. So having arguments and competition within the team isn't a winning strategy. This sadly isn't how much of the design and build players work. There is still a large amount of animosity between architects, architectural designers, builders, and tradespeople. There's a lot of blame game that goes on. And the people that pay for that at the end of the day is you, the client, and the homeowner, because you're paying for inefficiencies with clear communication and common understanding, but also for people not having accountability and passing on the buck. So the collaborators with Small Smart Spaces, we all have one thing in common. We have a passion and desire to create better homes for everyday people. We actually have two. We all want to collaborate and not control our projects. We know what we do, and we want to collaborate with people who complement that. No one is more or less important in this process, and all of us have committed to doing things differently from status quo to make that happen. Because let's be brutally honest here, if building better was possible with the conventional design and build practices, it would be common practice. The mainstream practice is to build to minimum code standards, which are legal minimums, and they treat our building code like a design guide. And this mainstream practice is struggling to adapt build to building better because they were never set up to do it in the first place. So all the collaborators with Small Smart Spaces have stepped up and they've committed to creating ways for building better to make that happen. So I want to introduce you to some of the collaborators. The links to their companies and to information about them are on the Small Smart Spaces page on the website space. I will put that link in the description below. So to start off, we have Virtue Build and Quality Build as our affiliate builders. Both Nathan and Shane have a passion for doing quality designs. Nathan is a certified passive house tradesperson. Shane is on his journey there. And one of the key relationships for a successful team is the working relationship between the builder and the architectural designer. We need to work together to find the way to create the best solutions for our clients. The two heads are always better than one. We come at it from different perspectives, but we still have the common goal. On the service side, Steel by Ultron does the mechanical ventilation designs, and Grant Anderson is a certified passive house designer. So he gets the intention without me having to say much. Common understanding, common language. It's a very key part of a good team. It means there are efficiencies that just naturally happen in the process. So communication and comprehension is really, really important for the team at Small Smart Spaces. Now, Foreman supply the SIPS panels. Nick and his brother William have a wonderful successful New Zealand business story. There is also strong support for architects and architectural designers with Formans, and I have benefited from this over the years. QPod and Stop Digging are very innovative foundation solutions. QPod uses recycled materials. Stop Digging uses recyclable materials that are environmentally friendly. They're not this toxic timber treatments here. They also embrace componentry that reduce the work on site, speeding up work and ensuring quality. Abodo is another New Zealand success story, and Daniel Goodson and his team have a low carbon thermally treated product, which is planet considerate. Again, no toxic treated building products, no native forests being milled for good quality timber. I do love supporting New Zealand companies, and in light of all of the economic uncertainty at the moment, I think it's a very good strategy. And then there's Collab Mortgages. Sam and Dan are passionate about the construction industry and have created financial packages that open up options for clients, which previously have only been available to group home companies and the like, and the real big players. So this really does help those who want to build better and get the lending avenue to achieve this. And one of the benefits offered by group housing companies is being able to make this all happen under an umbrella with finance options. So we have our way of doing that, but in a different way, becoming together as a team, and so that this is no longer a barrier to using an architectural designer and a builder. Okay. There's a few more collaborators on there, so if you're curious to learn more, hop on that. The logos, as I said, are linked to their websites, so you will know who you're dealing with. You will know what their company philosophies are and what they stand for. Okay, lastly, the speed of construction. This is number 7. We've all heard the saying, time is money. It's not always true, but when we look at project cost savings, reducing time on site is a key way to keep the same value of creation by removing all of the unnecessary costs that come from build time. So these costs add up. You'll laugh. Toilet hire, scaffold hire, travel time for the building team to travel to site, time sitting in traffic to get to Bunnings to buy that bolt or that piece that you need before you can progress. You pay for this as a homeowner, and the more that we can become efficient with smart thinking and great organization and products and systems that enable this and are packaged up easily, the more we can cut out the unvaluable costs in a project. Now, the foundation systems used by Small Smart Spaces use standardized componentry, like thermal slab edges that act as permanent shuttering formwork that keep the concrete in place while it sets. So you're not having to do one thing, take it down, put up another thing. It's one thing doing two jobs, which I think is super smart. Screw pile foundations, they're aluminium piles that are brought to site and then assembled in place. At times, a whole foundation can go down in one day. No digging holes in the ground, putting in timber piles, waiting for the concrete truck to turn up, and then having to have the concrete set. It's done in 1 or 2 days, right? Using the SIPS panels means that our walls, floors, and roofs can go up relatively quickly, which reduces the scaffold and safety netting costs. Health and safety is a large cost. These are manufactured while the foundations are being laid, so we're fast-tracking those 2 stages with your project running on site alongside the offsite works. Now, There is always more improvements that we want to make at Small Smart Spaces, and that will develop over time. But there are so many great solutions out there in the marketplace that have been tried and tested. A lot of them are just talked about in the offsite space, which when we bring them into a conventional way of building, actually makes them incredibly expensive. So one of the key things with offsite construction is you've got to design it into the project right from the start. And it's the very reason that I became involved in the offsite space right in the beginning back in 2020. So just to sort of sum that all up, with consistent details, Shane and Nathan and their teams, they know what to expect. It improves their team's efficiency too. There's a feedback loop too, so that I am in contact with them saying, we can do this better. How about we do this? There's speed in the design process, which, as I mentioned, in the beginning, right? So we've got this standardized, with this systematic way of process that you can go through. Catching myself with standardized. There's no silver bullet to a speedy project, and we definitely don't want speed at the expense of quality. But the systems, the people, the process, and the products on the Small Smart Spaces team know smart ways to build faster. So Small Smart Spaces is a place where they all come together to make this happen for you, because they can't do it themselves in isolation. We need each other. All right, to close off, that is an introduction into Small Smart Spaces. There are better ways to create your home, and I welcome the opportunity to chat with you to see how we can make this happen for you. So to book a time that works for you, just use the link below. It's all designed for you to be in control of how to fit this into your life. Now, building better is possible, but there's this old saying that the height of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as I mentioned, if building better was possible with a conventional design and build way of doing things, we would have surely done so already. So when you're forcing a new way of doing things to achieve more, when you're forcing an existing way of doing things to achieve more, and it wasn't designed to do that in the first place, we create stress, time, cost, and compromise. So it's time we change the way we create our homes, because you definitely deserve better. Book a chat with me to discuss your options. As I said, it's free. The link is in the description box below. I'll just leave you with a saying that my grandfather taught me: 100% of the doors you don't knock on don't open. So just treat it as a discovery. Next month, I will be covering the bespoke architecture practice, which I do offer at Smart Living Spaces. It gives you a comparison to Small Smart Spaces and can highlight how efficiencies are incorporated into that process of mine, that I can offer clients value and assurance when embarking on a bespoke new build or a renovation project. So sign up for the vlog, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or LinkedIn. The links to get those daily snippets and nuggets are in below. And lastly, for those of you still here, thank you. I really appreciate your curiosity in building better. I'll see you next time.